InfoWars. Tomorrow's news today.
Here we are. What a time to be alive. What a new year that we are about to be plunged into. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I apologize to the crew and the listeners yesterday that I was legitimately having breakdowns on air because I'm a real person and I need to learn self-control. I've gotten better about it over the years, but I am so upset with Trump and the betrayal that it just makes the top of my head blow off. I get so angry. In fact, just thinking about it right now, I'm getting pissed. In the gut, you know what I mean? A sick, burning feeling of disgust. In fact, I don't want to go back to that feeling again. It just started happening again. Because you see, I get in here for hours before the show, and I scan over hundreds of articles, I read dozens of articles, I watch dozens of video clips, I take phone calls, I read government documents, I read pieces of legislation, I read lawsuits. And I'm sitting here looking at the British Medical Journal saying there's no doubt the Pfizer and Moderna shots, as well as the J&J and AstraZeneca, all cause massive increases in heart attacks and myocarditis, as well as arrhythmias. I know people personally took it and got serious heart problems from it. Personally.
Hey, move your asses.
And then I sit there and I see Trump sit up there and laugh and say it works great, it's wonderful, everybody should get it, and all the rest of that crap. It makes me physically ill. But I'm going to move on from Trump. That's why I got so upset yesterday, because we've invested so much in Trump and he has so much promise and he could really be a champion and the leader we need. But for whatever reason, he's decided to hang around with that loser, Bill O'Reilly, and when you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. I'm done talking about it. Let's move on. But speaking of the COVID news, every day we're on air is a blessing because they're trying to take us off air. They're trying to shut you up, trying to shut us all up. They're closing the door on freedom. Every day I'm on air, it gets worse. I mean, I've got in my stack mainstream news going, yeah, about 1 out of 100 people took the Pfizer shot, had a heart attack, and a bunch of them died. 1 out of 100, good Lord. I've got the Lancet Journal, the British Medical Journal, right here. I'm going to show it to you. And this nightmare doesn't end. That's one article. One article in this stack right here. So I'm going to do my best to be not flip out today and just try to calmly read you these stories and go over these, because you know, it's one thing if adults want to be cowardly and go get shots and have heart attacks and die. At a certain point, I'm kind of at a sick level glad the Democrats are all killing themselves. But, you know, a lot of them mean well as well, and so I shouldn't have that evil thought. And I repent of it, God. And I'm being honest about that. I have a lot of friends that are Democrats that mean well, that are just like caught in its mind control and can't admit they're wrong. And I get it. They look at Trump's problems and think, well, this must be the answer. No, what your side's much worse. But I really want to just empathize with everybody and be Christ-like, because that's the spirit we need to not let this destroy us, because we don't want to turn into who they are. We want to be Christ-like, especially with Christmas here. It's a few days away. All right, just wait till we come back in 60 seconds. I'm just going to hit it all. It's just over the top. Wait to hear about the latest phase of the purge in the U.S. military. One of the Jan 6 committee members is a CHICOM agent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this shortest day of the year, December 21st, 2021. All right, let me tell you what's coming up today, and then we're going to hit it all. Ollie Alexander, who went and testified for 8 hours to the House January 6th Witch Hunt Committee, will be in studio in the second hour. And within 2 days of the Gateway Pundit article with the reporter we had on Saturday, Jacob Ingalls, breaking it on our show Saturday, just again proud of us being at the sphere with the Gateway Pundit. Jan 6 member has business ties to China and the Chinese Communist intelligence agencies. She's announced that she's not running for Congress 2 days after this came out. We'll also be talking about that. So that's who you get to go in a room with. And you literally get to see the enemies of America, daughters of famous war criminals, you name it, a true legion of evil. Not looking for the truth, but trying to set you up with perjury traps to send you to prison.
I know. You're Lucy Thackeray.
That's coming up the second hour as well.
And you are?
V. Your brother sent me to get you.
And Ollie went in and told him everything.
Okay, just a moment.
The truth. He'd say, no, none of us planned any violence.
With him.
We had a permit. We were there to be peaceful.
Almost got him sorted
And they'd say,
out.
so you admit here under oath that you launched attacks, that you were the commander of the attack. And he was like, what?
God in here belongs in a scrapyard.
You got a Delta now.
Because there's no honor amongst these people. They're here executing the takedown of the country. They have zero honor.
He's going into
In fact, they have negative honor.
I'll try to stem the bleeding. You.
And as soon as people get that through their heads, the sooner we start saving this country. Of course they're destroying the currency. Of course they're destroying the military. Of course they're destroying the borders. Of course a bunch of the producers at CNN don't just want to have sex or do have sex with little boys and girls. They are recruiting them as sex ops for other men.
When you kill someone.
I didn't kill him.
Jeffrey Epstein was just one elf in the Satanic New World Order's workshop.
That's murder.
These are
go.
criminals
And of course,
we're dealing with. These are people who are gone.
Just hope it's
You look at Elizabeth Warren's eyes. You look at Adam Schiff's eyes. They're gone, folks. Lights are on, but nobody's home. Like old Clint Black used to say. The lights are on, but nobody's home. We've got a case of real evil making its move on us. And as we enter 2022, it's making its move against InfoWars because we are one of the final dominoes that hasn't fallen for them, that hasn't rolled over like Trump's doing with the vaccines and the rest of it. And I will be faithful to the end. I'm not going to back down. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we could give out. That's why I'll just say right up here at the first of the broadcast, we have several $1 million of shortfalls to fund this operation. You know, you read about and you see stories about hundreds of leftist online publications that would have 30, 40, 50 employees with budgets of 20, 30, 40 million dollars going bankrupt because they can't make money.
Lucy's safe.
But that's what it costs, ladies and gentlemen, when you go out and you license the photos and license all the stuff and have the lawyers and have the crew and have to pay for your own infrastructure. They don't have to pay for all that infrastructure. We do, and we do it for less money than they do. But, you know, we've got to sell $50+ million worth of merchandise every year to be able to then have enough money left over from the, quote, profit of that to feed it into the system. And you've made such massive investments in InfoWars in your time, your energy, your support, your prayers in the decades past that this is like a 9-month due baby, and the baby's going to be born next week. And then you just decide to have an abortion. And I'm not guilting you, I'm saying, to myself included, because stuff's gotten rough publicly and privately. They're really making their move on me. You know, they've told me, you're going to stop or you're going to go to prison. We'll set you up one way or another. Well, I mean, you're already killing kids. You're already destroying society. So am I going to just run and hide so that many years from now I can be laying in my bed in a totally enslaved system, wishing I'd have been a real man at the time of the challenge? No, I'm not backing down right now. One of my friends said, that works with us, is being persecuted along with us, said, in for a penny, in for a pound, ladies and gentlemen. You got to have the dishonorable evil people over here? Well, that's not who we are. If anything, I fight too hard sometimes and get upset and get really angry, and it's not a good thing for anybody, including my own health. So I am asking for your prayers, I am asking your financial support, and I am asking for your word of mouth because you are the resistance. And God always keeps it that way. We're always just bringing in enough money, just bringing in enough money, just bringing in enough money. And then now, every time we get back in the black, we're right back in the red. And just going into this critical time when they've been so close to completely shutting us down and us not even be able to, take your orders at InfoWarsStore.com, now is the time while you can. It's really on my heart, my intellect, but also my spirit, that we need to have a war chest. We need to have extra money, not just enough, in the position of having to actually cut pay or lay people off when we need every person we've got here. There's a real sense of urgency in InfoWars, but there's a real sense of urgency everywhere. Either people are awake and know how much trouble society is in, or they're more lackadaisical, more drowned in entertainment, more living in fantasy land and under a great delusion that is now upon the world. So do your Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com and get the supplements like Vitamin Mineral Fusion. It's going to sell out in a week. Won't have more in for a while. We're still at 40% off. DNA Force Plus selling out very quickly. That sale's got to end today. Ultimate Krill Oil, highest rating of krill oil. It's beyond fish oil. It's just incredible. It's discounted. All those products are at InfoWarsStore.com. In fact, let me just tell you what we got. There's a bunch of stuff's about to sell out. Vitamin Mineral Fusion selling out 40% off. Prostagard selling out 50% off. Turbo Force selling out 40% off. All new Super Charcoal Whitening Toothpaste discounted. Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula, 95% humanoids, 95% humanoid, 40% off. DNA Force Plus, 40% off. Down and Out Liquid Sleep Support, amazing, 50% off. Super Male and Super Female Vitality, 50% off. Living Defense, 50% off. Lung Cleanse, 50% off. At InfoWarsStore.com. Brain Force Plus, back in stock, 50% off. Ultimate Krill Oil, back in stock, 50% off. Patriot Blend Coffee, discounted $2. This is already so inexpensive, super high quality. Knockout Sleep Support, 50% off. Hair and Beard Support, which is really a multivitamin mineral that's really strong. That's what we should have called it. Just call it Hair and Beard. COVID Land for $19.95, and then get 2 of my films free on the same DVD. 1776, founding member coin is sold out. Alexa Pure, back in stock, $30 off. And I wish I'd have made 20,000 of those coins, but it's a limited edition. We're not. It was 10,000 coins because that took us from being 3 million behind to being 2 million behind. And I'm not bitching. I'm just saying we've got to keep InfoWars on the air. We can't back down. We got a bunch of projects that are almost done and almost complete. The baby is 9 months. It's about to be born. Next level, 110% next year. I want to thank you all for your support. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to ask you to continue to invest in InfoWars, the winning horse in the fight for liberty. InfoWarsStore.com. Go there now. Next segment, I'm going to hit the most out of control world government, forced microchipping, forced injections to buy and sell, planetary UN dictatorship news. That is this stack right here.
Talks about you nonstop. Only good things,
and some good news, things like the Japanese government tells citizens don't discriminate against the unvaccinated. What a world we live in. Almost none of the Japanese are dumb enough to take the shots. They know what's going on. But let's hit this first. This is what's really important to understand where we're going. Without even looking last night and this morning, I ran across more than 10 op-ed articles being promoted all over the internet, from Yahoo News to Twitter to Instagram, the Boston Globe, you name it, calling for an end to the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Now, you dovetail that with the Pentagon's new guidelines saying that if you like something they call extremist, including the OK sign or the Gadsden flag, which they just took out of the military a few years ago. It's the first U.S. flag, even before Betsy Ross made the first American flag.
Doc, my sorry.
And then, just a few years later, guess what? We'll court-martial you if you click on something. And the ADL runs computer programs watching everyone on Twitter and Facebook and tracking who they are, and now has databases to report on our military. I mean, this is the secret police. This is a criminal takeover. That's in the news right here.
sink down the same net.
In fact, I meant to cover that yesterday. I had it in my stack.
You
Hey, John, you're the one that gave it to me. We give it to them against they put it on screen. The ADL bragging. You know, the ADL's Twitter account. They show how they track everybody. What you're doing, where you're visiting, what you're reading. They're watching you because they're the good guys. So this is an article out of the Tampa News paper. Law professor rewrites the First and Second Amendment, which doesn't include freedom of the press or the right to bear arms. This is Kendall Tights writing this. A law professor argued in Boston Globe op-ed that the First and Second Amendment should be rewritten to change how it defines the freedom of the press and the right to bear arms. And of course, could you guess, it isn't keeping the rights or expanding them, it's getting rid of them. Mary Ann Franks. Oh, Anne Frank. I wonder why I wonder if Anne Franks is named after Anne Frank. Anne Frank got killed by an authoritarian government. Mary Ann Franks, a professor at University of Miami School of Law and author of The Cult of the Constitution, Our Deadly Devotion to Guns and Free Speech. That's a real book. That's a real headline. So, you know, the Nazis weren't for free speech or the citizens owning guns either. So, I mean, will Mary Ann Frank seek out a time machine to teleport herself back 80 years to the height of the Nazi era? Mary Ann Frank's a professor at the University of Miami School of Law and the author of, quote, The Cult of the Constitution. Well, the left's the cult of pedophiles and bankruptcy and feces and heroin needles. The Cult of the Constitution, Our Deadly Devotion to Guns and Free Speech, wrote an op-ed in the Boston Globe arguing that the Constitution has competing interpretations that inspire religious-like fervor, leading to irrational results. So you want to fire the police, have your own private security if you're a professor or a city council person. That's how it works all over the country. And then I can't have a gun in my house or my business to protect myself. Oh, I figured out how that works. You people want to destroy civilization. Continuing. Frank's book argued that the Constitution is in the service of white male supremacy. Oh yeah, the Bill of Rights and Constitution is in the service of white male supremacy. So this woman's a race baiter using race to control people. A horrible monster. The Second Amendment is a conservative fetish, and the First Amendment is a liberal fetish. Well, not anymore. That is less obvious, but no less influential. Yeah, that evil First Amendment, according to the description of the work written by Stanford University Press. The First and Second Amendment tend to be interpreted in aggressively individualistic ways, can't have those, that ignore the reality of conflict among competing rights. Oh, a bunch of UN talk. Let's continue. Now, moving on from that, I'm not going to read the rest of it. Pentagon issues new rules to stop rise of extremism in the military. I went and read the new rules, and it says liking something. And it's not like they like, say, the KKK, so they call them in and say, what are you doing? Still, you shouldn't be surveilling the troops. Still, you shouldn't be having the ADL scan everybody and put them in databases and have AI report back. Still, you shouldn't be doing that. But okay, no, you know, it's not like you liked an Al-Qaeda video saying we're going to behead people. And you got to be asked, why'd you do that? That's still dangerous to have that surveillance. No. It's stuff like the Gadsden flag or President Trump or questioning election fraud or questioning forced inoculations. It's the same stuff that's in the terrorism official directive of President Biden, the puppet, from June that says questioning vaccines, questioning lockdowns, questioning election fraud, questioning open borders is terrorist, and that the Pentagon and military and CIA must degrade and disrupt. When the Green Berets bust into some place and kill somebody, that's called disrupting and degrading something. I mean, literal military assassination terms, hit squad terms for you. And now it's the open purge of the military 2.0. You thought critical race theory was bad. You thought all the gender BS was bad. You thought all that was bad. No, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because the military is People sign over some of their rights in, quote, defense of the country. That's being abused by the occupiers of our nation to destroy our military, to totally shut it down. This has all been planned. Meanwhile, doing Satan's work, Pentagon orders company to stop making faith-based dog tags. The Pentagon, for the commissaries and PXs, had it where people could order their own Christian custom dog tags with their number. So they could have John 3:16 or Isaiah 4:17. But no, they said that's hateful, including saying courage in Christ, not allowed. You can't physically have under your clothing something about God. What a satanic group running our military. The Pentagon recently ordered Shields of Strength to stop making faith-based dog tags. The company has been making the tags for 20 years, but the Pentagon got one complaint and ordered the company to stop making the faith-based dog tags. It's not a woke Pentagon that caved to bullies. They're running the whole thing. Oh, but there's other censorship. Twitter censors account that alleged another CNN pedophile scandal, which is ongoing. Yeah, that's who these people are. That's who these people are. So that's just some of the attack on free speech while they silence us, while they roll out deadly injections against all of us, no matter what color we are. And we got that huge news, the biggest yet on the COVID takeover. Straight ahead, I'm Alex Jones, newswars.com. Now is the time to take action. Now's the time to be peacefully in the streets. Now is the time to have your voices raised and warn the public that what the children are being given is very dangerous and does not protect them from COVID and is linked directly to massive heart attacks, blood clots, and death. We're going to hit a bunch of that news here right now. But we really are dealing with authoritarians that are just out in the open gaslighting the population. And so all we got to do is point out that it's wrong and the people will join us. We will win the fight. But that's why the censorship is so massive, and that's why they've incrementally basically shut down almost everyone. But there are no real prominent voices left. Even talk radio is censoring conservatives that question election fraud or question the so-called vaccines. That's why independent networks like InfoWars are beyond critical. What we're witnessing is a scientific plan to turn our free societies into oppressive scientific dictatorships. In fact, I was trying to think of a headline this morning for the live show, and I never went and even did it just because I don't have words to come up with something epic enough. But we are now living in the post-free world. We are now about to go into year 3 of a worldwide UN-run corporate technocracy. And I don't say that to scare people. I say it because that's where we are. I have a close family member who was never really anorexic in their life. And then just not paying attention or for whatever reason, they're very happy and very nice. They just stopped eating the last year. And they lost 50 pounds. They were never big. And then they started basically having dementia-like symptoms. And I got in their face about it. They started making them take vitamins and minerals and making them eat for just a month, going to their house 3 times a day in some cases, and making them eat. Now they look 20 years younger and are running around having a great time. That's what I'm telling you, with the TVs and the iPads, and there are studies that show this, but it's putting people into a trance. And the chemicals in the food and the water. To where not just people close to me, but everybody's seeing it, and the statistics showing it. People that are aware of it become irritated by it and become angry about it. But that's a minority of people. Everybody else, even if they still are a patriot at heart and still they love God, they are being slowly mesmerized into a sleep state where they're going into a type of coma-like state that they've got to be gotten out of. And I know you're all witnessing it as well. And we see it statistically with young people where it didn't matter if they're black or white or Hispanic or Asian, The IQs in the Western world are 20, 30 points what they were just a generation ago. South Korea, the US, you name it. What was that movie? It was a really good movie, and it was based on a TV show that I never really watched until after I saw the movie, and then I went and bought the DVD set and thought it was pretty good for a low-budget science fiction TV show. TV show was Firefly. What was the movie? Serenity. And in the movie, no one knows why 30 years before suddenly these crazy psycho people show up who just fly around in space murdering and killing and are basically like satanic demons. And then they finally find out where they came from, that the government was doing a test. It's a big leftist, socialist, globalist, galactic empire. And they find out that they put Prozac into the atmosphere, basically, a high-tech Prozac that ended war, ended violence, ended everything, but then basically made 99% of people just go into a coma and die. But the 1% turned into psychotic killers. And you know that's all Carnegie Endowment. I mean, that was their plan. All of this has been laid out since the 20s, where they created the theoretical systems they're now building. And they even theorized, not in that movie, I know where they got it from, with some of the top globalist thinkers from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like Bertrand Russell, is that the majority will die and just turn off and be slowly killed, but that a small percentage will become these super wild men who are immune to it and who will have high intellects, but will also be basically psychotic killers. You may have heard of that allegory before with H.G. Wells and the Morlocks and the Eloys, where the Morlocks are conscious and have 200 IQs, but they're like vampires, and they feed on the Eloi that live in the light in a Garden of Eden on the surface, because ignorance is bliss. And so that's really what Firefly, and then I guess what they made the movie into, Serenity, is the archetype. And that's really true. Like, I'm a Morlock, even though I don't want to be a Morlock. I mean, I'm like Bill Gates. I'm like Klaus Schwab. I know how it all works. I understand all of it, except I don't like killing the Eloi. It's true. I am a brutal killing machine if I need to be. I'm not even proud of that. And I understand, and I see them like, I see the general public as lemmings, and I want to wake them up. But you know, I just want to ask the actual Morlocks, because I mean, I'm not saying I'm as bad as they are, but I'm a fallen creature. I mean, I see what they see. Don't you understand you can escape that through Christ? But they don't know that, and they don't want to know that. And they want to just continue on. So that's why you see that in the Vincent Price movie, The Last Man on Earth. You see it again in the remake of Omega Man, and you see it again in the remake of that original film into I Am Legend. And it's saying to the world, the universe, can a scientist decide to not give us the injection that turns us into psychotic killers, which is the apple or the falling from grace? And now they're trying to give us a shot not to actually lift us up and empower us, but right up front, they're giving us a poison to take control of us. And so this is the real Illuminati secrets, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is what's really going on. And the public's going to want to go outside. The public's going to want to have their freedoms again. And they're going to be told it's the uninjected, the unvaccinated that are the reason you can't do that. Even though the facts and science show it's the opposite, they'll just repeat the word science over and over and over again. And you can't help them. And so leftists that are very, very weak and very, very alone, most of them have, fetal alcohol syndrome and, serious brain damage and didn't get breastfed. The low-level minions, the kind of Renfields of the left, they actually kind of know this and think if they can be liars and they can be psychotic and they can prove themselves to the Morlocks, to the Draculas, that they can become a Dracula. And that's what Renfield's wanting. He's wanting Dracula to bite him, but Dracula won't do it. And so you see it in Bram Stoker, and you see it in H.G. Wells, and you see it everywhere, and they're telling you what's going on spiritually. We don't need to become Morlocks. We need to become Christ-like. We need Jesus. And that's what's in Omega Man. He finally finds his blood's got the cure because he had the antibodies. He's trying to save him, and they said, dude, we don't want to be saved. And they kill him and hang him up on a cross. But the people he's already trained go and they get the blood. And they go and ride off into the hills and into the woods to build their new society with the blood of Christ. I mean, it's telling you right there, you need Jesus. You're not going to find Jesus in these churches. They're controlled. Of course, Satan gets control of the churches and puts their system up front. And we're not saying Charlton Heston's Jesus. We're saying they'll have some crazy fake Christian Pharisee Bible thumper say that. It's the archetype. They're telling you. Hollywood puts those images out because they know you know deep down they're real. We'll be right back. Stay with us. The winter solstice is here. The longest night of the year. The shortest day. And that's today's headline. America enters its longest night. Its globalist target patriots in the military. So any Gadsden flags, any discussion of election fraud, you as a citizen aren't allowed to have any political views unless it's SJW. This is the takedown and takeover of our country. Ali Alexander is going to be exclusively joining us in studio. He sat for 8 hours in front of the Kangaroo January 6th committee. He went in there with an open heart, very friendly, very nice, gave them all the documents, spent almost everything he had on a top lawyer to go over everything, and they treated him like garbage. And he's pissed. And I only got it secondhand from Roger Stone to talk to him. You'll be getting it firsthand here in studio in just a moment. It's not that I don't trust Ollie. He's in that green room right there. It's just that the way the committee is so criminal, so evil, that I will not talk to him on the phone, and I will not be in a room alone with him so that they can't lie about us. That's how serious this is, okay? That's how out of control this is. But he'll be here in studio for you, and we really appreciate him. That's coming up at 6 after next hour, so 15 minutes away. And he'll probably go into the 4th hour with us or 3rd hour with us as well. He's here in Texas and, again, breaking his silence, and we're very, very glad he's a fellow Texan that he's going to be here with us. I just went into my whole parable of the Morlock versus the Eloi, and that's how the globalists see everything. Predator and prey, and how I'm trying to get people in the mode who are prey to stop acting like prey. And that's why we sell a coffee cup that I designed that on one side shows a wolf chasing a sheep around InfoWars. And on the other side, a big, mean sheepdog chasing the wolf. And you want to be the sheepdog. You don't want to be the wolf. You don't want to be the sheep. You want to be the sheepdog. And that's what it is to be Christ-like, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not claiming I'm Christ-like. I just know what Christ-like is. All right, let's go ahead and get into this stack of news that after Ollie leaves us in the middle of the 3rd hour, I'm going to go into more detail on because it's just incredible. This is why they're silencing. This is why they're censoring. This is why the ADL has like government contracts to surveil the American people and report back on us in live time. I mean, it's just crazy. Democrats urge health officials to require vaccination or negative tests for domestic flights. Biden's set to make announcements today, and the word is that's along those lines. Unbelievable tyranny, medical ID, that's the basis of the world social credit score ID, carbon tax. And here they are a few months ahead of us in the EU. EU sets binding 9-month validity of vaccinations for COVID-19 travel, says you have to have 4 shots to be able to travel, and they say they're going to start upping the number. The European Commission today adopted rules that will make the European Union COVID-19 certificate valid for travel 9 months after the completion of the primary vaccination schedule. And remember when they did the Steel deal in 56, you can go read the treaty, just about, the Steel Collective agree not to have tariffs and to let our steel travel within a 10-member country block. Now it's 30-member block. And now it's an unelected steel cooperative that has unelected chairman that 2 weeks ago said forced inoculations, and now it's begun. They're getting ready for February to force it door to door.
Doing biz here long?
Old women being drug out of grocery stores, taken to jail because they didn't have a COVID pass. Those are the videos. So many of them, I can't even play them all here on air. Think about that. And just overnight now, boom, that's where you are. Wow, talk about frightening. We used to say, hey, America's not that free. Why are you putting down, other countries? Well, yeah, we're the best house in a bad neighborhood. Now we're learning how special America was. So continuing, EU sets binding 9-month validity of vaccinations for COVID-19 travel, but it says other countries inside are making them stiffer, and the EU is encouraging that. Bill would give New York governor authority to indefinitely, that means forever, detain cases or suspected cases of any contagious disease. Oh, where'd Bob go? Oh, well, he was coughing. They have senators in Australia that criticize the government. They come grab them at their house. They're holding them 3 weeks later saying, you're not sick, but you made a phone call out and criticized us. We're keeping you longer as punishment. Oh. We're just like, oh, yeah, they set up camps. Yeah, people go there that criticize what we do. It's no big deal. And now I told you it's here. Told you it was coming. Told you a year ago it would be announced by this winter because it's in the CDC documents about the shielding in place rule. Oh, but look, Queen Elizabeth, who's been triple jabbed, we're told. Yeah, right. And monkeys fly. Queen Elizabeth cancels Christmas. 95-year-old Queen will celebrate at Windsor Castle as COVID-19 Omicron variant spreads across the UK. So, she has to hide out and you've all got to wear masks because you took the shots, but sorry, they don't protect you. And here's the big one you got to read. We're linking to it in the live show feed of Infowars.com. It's in the Daily Mail. It's even in other foreign newspapers. The Daily Beast, of course, thinks it's wonderful. But the Gateway Pundit is reporting on it. Oxford study shocker. 1 in 100 vaccinated individuals were admitted to the hospital or died with arrhythmia during the study period, which is more than 10,000 times the average for death or heart problems. 1 in 100 vaccinated individuals were admitted to the hospital or died with arrhythmia during study period. Nothing like your heart not working anymore and going into spasms. It's really bad. I got family that's got it. Most of you do as well. Pretty horrible, huh? Pretty horrible. Including little children now having it. There it is, Nature Medicine. Risk of myocarditis, pancreatitis. That'll give you type 1 diabetes. And cardiac heart attacks associated with COVID-19 vaccine, SARS-CoV-2 injection. Wow. Oh, but what do the cardiologists say? Oh, well, they're fired. The chief of cardiology and medical director of heart vascular care of Doylestown in PA was fired for refusing. He had COVID, was tested, and has robust antibodies. 15 years with the hospital. Exemptions were denied. No comment from the hospital. He's suing. But hey, don't listen to a cardiac doctor. What do you think he knows about hearts or something? What are we going to start asking Troy Aikman about being a quarterback? I mean, what an idiot. Or how about Tom Brady? I mean, what are you going to ask Tom Brady about being a quarterback? You're going to talk to a cardiologist about all the heart attacks he sees? Just shut up and die. World's most prestigious medical journal roasts Facebook over inaccurate, incompetent, and irresponsible fact check. So even the British Medical Journal is now moving away, knowing that the whole ship of Big Pharma is coming down, or we're going to go down with it. And they went and listed the fact that Pfizer covered up the adverse reactions, and they say it is causing major heart attacks and problems, and that it's on the insert now it does it. Remember what Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, owned by Facebook, said just last month, about a month ago? They said, oh, you're not allowed. Oh, no. You're not allowed to say that the vaccinated can still spread COVID, even though they're more likely, actually. But it's true. It's all admitted. I mean, big corporations bought off the media, bought off the internet, bought off big tech, and they're just raping the living hell out of us. Every few hours, I see articles about little kids dying, young people dying. They even admit in a lot of cases it kills them. They just don't care. I mean, this is all an exercise in mass death. You got to go read this article out of Zero Hedge. It's also on Infowars.com. World's most prestigious medical journal roasts Facebook. Australia Austria, so is Australia, sorry, hiring people to hunt down vaccine refusers. Yes. Oh, there's no jobs now during the new lockdown, but we have a government job to spy on people. A very important article out of Newsweek, of all places, how Fauci fooled America. Well, folks are really turning against him. Biden plans to distribute 500 million tests as Omicron variant overwhelms most vaccinated states. As usual, where's the massive hospitalizations? Where's the massive death? In the triple jabbed, highest vaxxed areas, and who's dying at record rates? The double vax, the triple vax. Israel has even higher death rates. They're up to their 5th shot. From bad to worse, this really gets interesting. Another French nuclear reactor cuts output due to strike, so they're going to have blackouts in France now because they fired the nuclear tech workers. That's your great reset. That'll give Klaus Schwab a post-industrial world. As the reactors all over Europe begin to get cut back or shut down. Whoa, man, we're talking trendy and liberal. That'll be really good for the earth to have a bunch of Chernobyls, especially after the survivable nuclear war Biden's talking about with Russia. Oh yeah, even if anybody survives, thousands and thousands, because there's not just 500 reactors, there's thousands. Let me give you a little newsflash. Thousands of reactors will start melting down, and then it's kiss everybody goodbye forever. A reactor is a lot worse than a nuke. A nuke's clean, comparatively. It detonates and expends its energy. Reactor is the opposite. It's dirty. All right. Hey, by the way, 25% off on Reset Wars. I want to thank you all for your support. It's an amazing course. 25% off on Reset Wars at resetwars.com until Christmas Day.